side, the job's still got to be done today.
Absolutely. Of course. We love winning trophies with the boys, always. It's always a good
Over
thing.
30 years with this guy, trophies. He's lucky he's with me.
Last week he got upset with me. Last week I didn't give him the ball as much. So this week I'm going to be giving him the ball all the time. Make sure you get it on camera, all right, please.
From under 19s to the Olympic, national champions, to over 45s, Minotaurs.
A lot of trophies together. It's always good with mates. Yes.
How you feeling?
Very nervous. My first time in the grand final. I can't handle it, man. I'm getting very nervous. But I'm sure the boys will do the right thing. All they're going to do is do what I tell them. I'm going to kick their fucking ass. That's it.
Welcome to Jubilee, the famous iconic rugby league venue, but it's all about football. Over the last 2 weekends, the final grand final over a 2-weekend period for the St George Football Associations brings together the team in white, Hurstville Zagreb, against Hurstville City Minotaurs. The Minotaurs have been the benchmark, 103 goals scored, 1 conceded. Incredible performance, unbeaten leaders from the start to the end of the regular season, and they did account for Zagreb in the semi-finals of the competition by 2-0 in the other sudden death semi. Carlton defeated Scots 4-3, and then Zagreb overcame Carlton to get a chance for redemption. As we welcome in commentary today, my co-commentator would normally be playing, but for an injury that actually affected his playing days at the club up until 7 or 8 weeks ago. It's Manny Spanoudakis. And Manny, you look at both teams, and in particular your team, the Minotaurs, it's just blessed with experience. It's blessed with players of great pedigree in the game at both state league and national league level.
Absolutely, Andy. I think it's been a fantastic season for the team. As you said, I think they'd relish the opportunity to play on this fantastic playing surface on such a big field. And it looks like it's going to be a wet evening, but all the more for a nice, open, free-flowing football game.
Now, you talk about the conditions, and it's been a little bit disappointed that the weather has changed in the last couple of hours. Does it bring it back to a level playing field? Does it give Hurstville Zagreb a bit more of a chance, given that we know the ball-playing skills of both these teams, and particularly the way the Minotaurs play the game?
I think there is the risk of that, and so complacency, which I don't believe the Minotaurs will be complacent, but if they do slacken off, Zagreb is a team that can punish you. In saying that, I think the slick playing surface and the size of the field, the width of the field, will make fantastic opportunities for Dave Barrett on the right and Spiro Hanses on the left, both, as you said, very experienced players playing in the old NSL. So I think we're in for a very entertaining, possibly high-scoring game.
Thank you, Manny. Looking forward to your comments throughout the evening. There is Tom Ponditas. He's such a gifted playmaker. We've watched his career evolve over the years. And with Nick Plataniotis, former Sydney Olympic success stories at Youth League, winning the National Youth League title, along with David Barrett, actually, back in 1987. But now it's the opportunity for Zagreb to counter. And Zelko Tolic was the man who broke away down the right flank. You won't miss Mario Loboya as well, the big number 15 who's hugging that right side of the pitch as Plataniotis is challenging. Boris Kulic on the right side of the defence, a slip there by Spiro Hanses. Play continues, and Hanses, it goes in front of him now. Plataniotis is squeezing a lovely ball through. That's a great ball, and look at the room and the space. He's going to be a standout tonight. David Barrett as well. Keep an eye on David Barrett, a very experienced player. Number 17 for the Minotaurs. Normally you might remember him at Sydney Olympic days, in particular as a right fullback, overlapping right fullback, but he plays right midfield at the moment in the centre, keeping an eye on Stan Medanik. And here is Pontitas. And we'll see a lot of him on the ball today. And look at the space that Karavatakis has at the moment. 3-on-4 at the moment. Karavatakis should get there, but he needs the support. That's a great ball. That's onside. And a low drive by Barrett. So Barrett's playing a very interesting role already, Manny.
Yeah, David's allowed to use his experience and drift in from the right in a middle 4-4-2 diamond formation. So Dave will look for opportunities to occupy the space that Louis Dunas and Karavatakis leave up front.
So the white of Zagreb going from the left to the right-hand side of our pitch. Up goes the flag. The assistant referee, Ross McNamara, closest to us, signalled straight away. Just, probably about a metre in that one. Disciplined play at the back there from the Minotaurs. They all came up in unison. Interesting preparation for their captain, Peter Papithas, who's on the ball at the moment. He had coaching duties with Marconi, who have had a fantastic run in the last couple of months under the guidance of Papithas and the first team coach, Peter Tsakenis. They're back up to the top echelon of New South Wales football. A deft little touch by Hansis, but Hansis is hobbling already. Now I'm watching the bench and I'm watching the general Peter Spanoudakis make the call. Hansis took some sort of knock as early as the first minute of the game, and it looks muscular to me in a sense. He is on his staunchest. Play continues. Karavatakis can't keep that one in. He's given up on that one, but Spiro Hansis, it could be game over already.
Yeah, I noticed that he twisted awkwardly very early in the match, as you said, Andy. It looks like his right knee, he did fall quite awkwardly, almost doing the splits, and hyperextended that right leg. So we'll keep an eye on him. He is hobbling around and looks in quite a bit of discomfort there.
Yeah, I just assumed he was going off, and you can see he's just trying to walk it out, and sometimes it does work, but if it's really an injury that it's at that age, exactly. I mean, we're not 24 anymore, as we know. And that will be a blow for the Minotaurs. There is a deep bench. There always has been at the Minotaurs, and there's plenty of options, of course, on that bench today. When you look at the starting 11 for the Minotaurs today, I mean, you've got people like Petrados as well to call, and there is Petrados actually coming on. He'll be coming on now for Spiro Hansis. Give us a bit of a lowdown about Petrados, because he comes from such a rich family of footballers, and we're very excited about that name, Petrados.
Look, Angelo's outstanding footballer, very professional in every way. Angelo was playing at the highest level in State League till the age of 44, and more recently in the lowest State League. So Angelo's very fit. Angelo's quite versatile, and he'll slot in anywhere as needed. That we may look to put Angelo higher up the park, or he may start on the left edge. We'll wait to see what the General's instructed him to do.
Well, he's certainly going to get a lot of game time today. Hansis has gone straight down the tunnel, so I fear the worst for him. As Pontitas, a little bit of a rare blemish that Minotaurs can now try and consolidate. Bubalo played it down the left-hand flank. They're trying to get the big men inside. I can see Zelko Tolic, the number 5, keep an eye on him. They've got some big weapons in attack, have Hurstville, Zagreb. And they'll be more than competitive here. This is not a fait accompli by any means. Karavatakis with a good overlapping run here from Barrett. The angle's tight, but the execution is of the highest order. The Minotaurs take the lead 6 minutes in. A lovely move, spread down the right flank. And we talked about the money man today, Manny Spanoudakis. The money man, David Barrett, has delivered an early blow to Hurstville Zagreb.
Having played with David the last couple of years in this team, the build-up and the execution of that goal, there's a sense of deja vu in there. And whilst Zagreb does have big, tall, strong, very technically comfortable players, I feel that in these conditions it could work against them. Mobility and speed and the ability to break forward, as Minotaurs did then, could catch them out. Great bit of work, won the ball at the back, threw into Petrados to Karavatakis, change of play out to Barrett, and David is clinical in any of those situations.
It was a wonderful goal. The first attempt of the game has got the desired outcome here for the premiers, the Hurstville City Minotaurs, who are desperate to add the silverware of St George Association to winning a grand final, and of course to trying to go all the way in the over 45s champions of champions. They've assembled such an experienced quality squad. It shows you a player gets injured, a player's not available, there is depth. And that is the key to success, if you've got the depth. Not relying on just the pure 11, but having 16, 17. In fact, there's 20 players that could be called upon to be in the matchday squad today for the Minotaurs. The first time the defence of Zagreb was opened up, And it was a telling finish from an angle, beating Andrew Orfanos, the keeper of Zagreb, on the far post. But, you know, once that ball was played to Barrett, and once Barrett had that composure, you expected the outcome. This is the thing. It was just hit so sweetly. And let's remember, it was only 2-0 in the semi-finals between these two sides, the major semi-final, which resulted, of course, in Hurstville Zagreb having to go into the final scenario, where they got through against Carlton. 1-0 is the story. In case you've just tuned in, we're 8 minutes into the game. It's the big one, the last grand final from the St George Association of 2017 on a wonderful deck here at Jubilee Oval here in Kogarah in Sydney. Paschalidis not challenged with a header, and it gave him enough time to find Minotaurs. Petratos, the outstep of the right, is a sweet ball in. He'll get another opportunity. He goes a little bit deeper, clever dummy, and now the attempt by the scorer. Had a bit more time than he realised there, Manny.
Yeah, I think he was a bit surprised that the ball came straight back to him on the edge of the box, and had a bit of a snatch at that unfortunately went wide. I think as the conditions continue to worsen here with the rain, the little things like the ball control, the first touch, the accuracy of passing are going to play a big role, and the ability to use the width and depth in this field. It's quite a large field, so we'll see how things pan out as the rain continues to drizzle down here.
And that's the other part that we haven't really touched upon. It's difficult conditions for the players, but they are really putting on a great show. Both teams trying to play some good, positive football. Now, Dunas, we know his goal poaching ability over a number of years, and the long-range attempt is miscued by Petratos. Angelo Petratos, the number 7, who has slotted in for the injured Spiro Hanses. I've got to say, Manny, it must be one of those most difficult jobs for the general, Spanoudakis, the coach, to sit down and work out his starting 11 week in, week out, knowing how many players are at his disposal.
Oh, look, like any coach, I guess there's some decisions you have to make. But at the end of the day, we're all, I mean, let's put it in perspective. This is over 45s. We're all grown men, families, kids. We're here for the social and recreational aspect of it. We love our football, but the banter and the change room stories and reminiscing is what brings us all together. So the general does what he has to do to make sure there's balance on the pitch and everyone's content with the game time they're getting.
Smartly done. So the Minotaurs will take the throw in their traditional all-white strip. Paschalidis. He's seen a lot of the ball, more than most today. The game at the early stages, it's 1-0, just after 10 minutes. And that's a good little ball inside. Just the first touch. The first touch needed to be a bit more clinical there to try and set yourself up for the shot, but it wasn't to be. And Louis Dunas a little bit frustrated with that outcome. They go long for Dunas, but it's cleverly intercepted. I don't think there's another injury in the middle. I can see Paschalidis. That must have been his shoelace, perhaps. Spanoudakis. Petratos. Minotaurs was thinking about it. There it is. He needs someone to come off. It's a good ball across. And the keeper wasn't confident enough to take it cleanly and went the safety option. And now it's lined up nicely. Minotaurs just tried to dink it inside the box. And now we have a problem for one of the Zagreb players in the background. The call is to play it out, but play continues on. And they maintain position and do it well. Zokotolic, the number 5. And now the big man, Mario Laboya. He had got away from Papithus. It was that moment that you thought perhaps Hurstville Zagreb might be getting themselves in a position to at least pressure John Chatsis, the keeper, who's only conceded 1 goal all year, and that was in the final round. 14-1 win against All Saints Oatley West. I don't think I can recall any team scoring over 100 goals and conceding 1 in any game or competition locally before ever.
And I guess that was one example of why that statistic stands, and it's quite a proud one. Albeit Peter Papithus, the striker, got the better of him. Guys like Sam Spanoudakis, George Souris, straight away there to cover up in numbers. And there's been many a times this year one's covered for the other and vice versa. So there's a bit of an instinctive experience that they have in defensive play, that the one gets beaten, there's someone there in cover for them, and there was just another example of that, and why they are, and why we, I guess, have that proud record of only 1 goal conceded this year. And believe it or not, it was a goal that we were trying to achieve the whole year, so we missed out on that achievement, albeit never lost a game all year.
Yeah, truly one of the great stories of over 45s football in any level, any league, any state, any country, to be honest. It's very rare that you can assemble a squad of such experience. Here is Plataniotis. A lot of people remember him as a centre-back in the days of Olympic. And look at that ball. Defence splitting. Petratos! He had too much time to decide. That was the problem.
Yeah, sometimes that does happen. I think he was a bit tentative. He took a couple of extra seconds for the ball to settle, and picked it up on the half volley and just put it over the top of the bar. That's the kind of run that we'll see from Angelo, and on the other side, as we've seen from David Barrett, I think people like Karavitakis and Paschalidis, their natural athleticism and mobility will start to take more and more control of the game. They'll get more touches of the ball as Zagreb players fatigue, and we see more spaces appearing in the midfield and in the front third.
Just checking the stopwatch, almost 14 minutes into this game. And it's still at the 1-0 scoreline. The goal scored by David Barrett in the 6th minute of play. A lovely finish. And it was a perfect ball through for him as well. Here's Plataniotis. Petratos, that's onside. Onside. Here it is for Karavitakis. He's called it! He's called it to perfection. We have seen 2 super goals here at Jubilee Stadium, and that is the second one. And it's the deaf craftsman, Steve Karavitakis, who is getting the accolades from his teammates. They're jogging all the way to him. They know that's quality. You pay money to see goals like that.
Well, Steve in his heyday was known as being a prolific goal scorer, and having played with him the last few years, I'm happy to say nothing much has changed. You give the ball to Steve in that penalty box facing goal, highly probable it's going to be a goal, and you may lose speed and you may lose a bit of fitness, but you won't lose your touch, and you can see how he perfectly, nice cultured little instep curl into that far corner of the goal.
They tried to set up the offside trap, and that brought their downfall, didn't it?
Yeah, and unfortunately for one of the defenders, he made an attempt to get the ball, and because he got the last touch, he kept him onside, and so Steve did what he had to do, and again, so 2-0 for the Minotaurs, and I think as the game progresses, more space will open up, and they'll have an opportunity to show why they scored 103 goals this season.
Manny, we're seeing one key part of the game here for your team, your Minotaurs. Paschalidis as the playmaker in the centre of the park, we know that. There's no Kalogiris today, but you've always got the option of a replacement. But Petratos has stepped in for Hansis and Plataniotis, so your midfield's really dominating and opening up and creating opportunities for your attack.
Yeah, all those players you mentioned, Paschalidis, Plataniotis, David Barrett, Angelo Petratos, have probably got between them 500 NSL games. So they know where to run, when to run, how to delay play, tempo, possession. So we are lucky. If anything, on the left side, Spiro gives us a natural left foot and natural width and an early delivery. Angelo tends to drift a little bit more infield, but we've seen how that causes problems for the opponents as well. So between the 4 of them, and then again, Louis Dunas and Steve Karavitakis up front, again, NSL experience, they know where to run, when to hold off. So look, I think the general balance of the team is looking good, and I just think it'll be a game that as fatigue sets in, potentially there'll be more opportunities to take advantage and score goals.
Darko Prusina had that free kick. It was a bit too low, so as a consequence, the clearance is well and truly inside the Zagreb half. It's cleared away by Robert Sirjak. And again, they have to regroup here, Zagreb. And they will continue to fight. There's no doubt about that. We've seen their fighting qualities this season. The danger of the counter now. And again, that's come off a Zagreb player, which allows Varadakis in. He's trying to curl it over the keeper. Should he have played David Barrett, who was free on his right. But when you're that close to goal and you've just scored a cracker, your confidence levels are high, your adrenaline's kicking in, your mindset is, I can beat the keeper.
Yeah, look, here's a traditional number 9. There's no way I'd be playing that ball if I was Steve Varadakis. If I'm right in front of the goal on the edge of the box and I'm a centre forward who's known for scoring, I'll be having a go, which is what he did. And you can't blame him for doing that, not whatsoever.
Great interception by Paschalidis. Here he is on the ball. He's gone long, there's no option up there. It's way too deep for Barrett. A little bit of pressure now on the keeper. And the first touch by Orfanos finds his man. But again, Paschalidis just spun away from him though. Zagreb have got 3 strikers up there at the moment. They lose possession though. Barrett. Barrett gets away from Joe Bubalo. And the deep ball for Varadakis. Flag is up. Flag is up for offside. Flag is up. Not a bad run at all from the diminutive striker. It was funny actually, before the game, I was here earlier today, Manny, I was having a look at the Oz Football website. You know, it's a database, yes. How accurate the appearances are for the players is debatable. But when you start looking at Dave Barrett's CV on those sorts of sites and you see the amount of games and how consistent the performances are. It's not like 10 appearances, 5 appearances. It's like 25, 26, 30, 28 each season. Like George Souris, I asked George Souris before the game, how many games has he played at NSL and also at State League level? Even he doesn't know. And he was playing, like Souris was playing from memory when I was filming the old State League for Football Stars of Tomorrow. He was 38, I think. He was still at Southo.
Absolutely. I mean, if you just think of Spiro Hansis alone, from what I understand, he's played over 400 games for what is now Bankstown Berries, having a great run in the FFA Cup. But the old Canterbury Marrickville Olympic, I think he made it over 400 first-grade appearances just for Canterbury Marrickville. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. We are blessed with the wealth of experience. And, you know, Davey Barrett was a starting 11 player, a key player in both at Sydney Olympic and Sydney Croatia at the time. Back in the old NSL.
You're right, you look at these names, you go through that squad of Souris and Papithas, Petrados, Pontitas, Varadakis, Hansis, Paschalidis, Dunas, Barrett and so on. These are all players that have played at State League or National League level and played consistently over a period of time. Look, the idea is good. The idea is good, but Varadakis tracked back inside instead of staying on the sideline. That's good supply up there for Zelko Tolic. Let's see what Zagreb can do. It's 2-0 at the moment. They need to test Johnny Chatsits in the goal of the Minotaurs. And as we can see, that the rain has abated. There's a long-range attempt, and for a brief moment there, it was always going away, but it will cause you some anxious moments at the back. But the pitch, the conditions, everything's just tick, tick, tick today. We had that drizzle, which doesn't help, but you can see the difference, particularly Minotaurs. And not being disrespectful to the pitches that you've had to play on. We all play on those pitches as players, whether we were 35s or over 45s, whatever. You look at this pitch, Manny, and I bet you're thinking deep down, I wish I was out there now.
Absolutely correct, Andy, and you know, everyone wants to play on a perfect pitch, and it's a problem that every association has, and you know, thankfully the St George Association and Football Association and the board has worked tirelessly with all levels of government, and we're very, very pleased to know that there's 3 top-notch synthetic fields and facilities imminent in the next few years, so that's great. But yes, we do play on suburban fields, as David Barrett does at one of his normal marauding runs. into the box, and the delivery was good, and the keeper handled it well. Yeah, look, I'd love to be playing out there, and I know that I could see the excitement in the boys' eyes in the change room. I'd love to play on a great field. Just gives you that, and you can see why people like Ange Postecoglou demand, that the Socceroos play on a bowling green, basically, because it adds to the spectacle and to the enjoyment of the game.
Well, you talk about the pre-match banter. It's always pretty entertaining in a Minotaurs dressing room, whatever the occasion. And at the moment, they're doing the job, and they're doing it well. It's 2-0. Midway through the first half. 22 and a half minutes exactly on my clock now. And look at the space again. They've given Kogarah a little bit too much room to allow him to control, look up and look for the return option. As you can see, a deft touch by Dunas. What a combo they are. Here's Kogarah. He can see goal, and he's actually missed the target. That's a rare blemish from a player of his ability. And it does happen. It does happen. This is a question here too for Zagreb. Do you man mark the Dunases and Kogarah, or do you back off and wait?
I'm not sure there's an answer. I mean, it depends, like everything. I'm not sure trying to man mark Steve Kogarah is going to work. Based just looking at the general physique of Steve, who's lean and lighter on his feet and mobile, versus the central defenders of Zagreb. They may look to play more of a zonal style of defence rather than man-to-man, because he is quite mobile. I think the issue is that gaps are developing between the defence of Zagreb and the midfield, big holes, and so they're creating opportunities for Steve and Dunas and Angelo Petrados and these guys to make runs in a hole. So I think they need to focus on making themselves a little bit more compact if possible, and seeing if they can at least deter that pass. It just seems to be too easy to pass defeat at the moment for the Minotaurs.
A little bit of a situation there between Damien Ivasic and Nick Plataniotis. Nick just a little tad late coming through for the challenge. And it's been a very simple, straightforward assignment for Kostad Semes, the referee. Nothing difficult for him to officiate on, and that's just testament to both teams. Both teams playing football, both teams wanting to provide us with an entertaining spectacle. And it's not a physical game by any means. It's not your traditional grand final of other leagues that might play other age groups. I think both these teams appreciate where they've been given the opportunity to play such an important game, and they're enjoying it. They're out there, they're trying to play good football. Ivasic, and down the flank is Mario Loboya, a real legend of the club, original all-age player from 1991. Paschalidis. Barrett's on his right side, but he'll go inside. Look at these onside. Oh, well, I thought he's well on truly onside, because it looked like to me on the far side he was kept on. I'm trying to isolate who that player was on that far side of that Hurstville Zagreb defence, but the assistant referee, Stephen Kateris, had his flag up. Sometimes the shorter option is the better option. And it looks like that might just be the case at the moment. Paschalidis, though, close them down quickly. They're overlapping in numbers and quite comfortably. Dunas lines up, and the keeper, it wasn't really a problem for him. Again, it's a headache, isn't it, Manny? Because there's options on either side, and you're coming to goal and you want to have that first attempt. That's the first opportunity for Dunas in the game. Good cut back inside by Loboya. He's gone very deep. Flag's on. And there is a comeback goal. The flag stayed down. Zagreb are back in the contest. What a top finish it was. And wasn't it an inch perfect cross, Manny Spanoudakis?
He did very well, the number 15 there on the right. He chopped inside Spanoudakis onto his left foot, had a quick look up and picked out the player on the back stick, and a very delicate little left foot, a very cultured left foot cross to the back post, and full credit to the goal scorer, put it away very, very clinically. And again, as you said, Andy, a moment in lapse in concentration or a poor touch in control. One moment you're at one end and your striker's looking to score, and then 30 seconds later you're picking the ball up out of the back of your net. That's one of the risks you take when you play so attacking.
Well, it was a good finish, wasn't it? And it makes it a really interesting contest. It makes it a very, very compelling contest. So 27-minute mark, it's 2-1. I was trying to identify the player on the back post. It looked like Dario Prusina with a header. Danko Prusina, rather, is a left-footed midfielder, but it was a lovely cross from Laboya. Credit to Zagreb, 2-1 in the over 45s grand final. It's hard to believe it. They've conceded a goal. The second goal that the team has conceded all season. A change to be made. Tommy Prusak. Now, this guy has got a fine football history as well. I remember actually seeing Tommy playing at Sydney United back in the day. He's also had a stint with Carlton Rovers in previous times in the old Premier League competition, going back at least 15 years from my memory. But he's a very, very skilled midfield player. Combative, but can play. So he comes on for the first time. He replaced Damjan Ivasic from the 35s, who's come up to help them today. Here's Tommy Prusak. His first contribution is for Zelko Tolic to chase. That was Stan Medanik, another experienced player, classy midfielder. He actually played Premier League football with Sans back in the day, as did Louis Dunas and Spiro Hansis. I mean, a lot of quality NSL and State League players have played at that level and then continued on into 35s and now, of course, 45s, which is always good for the game. It helps a lot of us, what we would call average players, to learn from these seasoned professionals. 2-1 is the story at the moment. It's late. It's late from Prusak. It could be the first booking of the game. It is. It's a yellow to the player who's just come on. I don't think you can argue with that.
No, you can't argue with that, and it's kind of unnecessary as well. I don't think there was any hope in him getting the ball anyway, so just got to be careful with these sort of late challenges at our age. I guess you run the risk of an injury being far worse than it may have been 20 or so years ago. But anyway, Steve's up and walking comfortably without a limp, so that's good to see.
Petrados goes deep, and there's no threat at all for the Hurstville Zagreb defence, and they'll get the throw in. It deflects off Plataniotis. Another change now for Zagreb. John Mihailovic, a solid defender to come on. So I wonder where he'll slot. He's normally playing in a defensive role. Will he move into midfield? Where will they play him now? Two-1 is the story here at Jubilee. Minotaurs had been cruising to a 2-0 advantage after just 15 minutes and well in control. And just one opportunity for the underdogs, Zagreb, and they took it and took it very well. We've seen 3 really good goals today. Dave Barrett with a lovely finish, far post overlapping down the right channel. Kogarah with an absolute bend it like Beckham. And then the angled header beating Chatsits from the Zagreb side. Prusak. Trying to lift it above Spanoudakis, but he's very clever and smart at the back there. Diffused that scenario. You can see the goal has just lifted Zagreb. There's a bit more purpose to their play. There's a bit more, I don't know, they've just lifted their confidence. Obviously has been certainly helped to come back from 2-0 to 2-1 and have that belief that they can do it again. First time they've scored against them. This is the 4th meeting of the season. And it's pretty good when you consider they lost 2-0, 6-0 and 8-0 previously. That's gone too deep. Yeah, that's no chance at all. Keep that in. A rare blemish from Robert Sidjak, the school teacher from Kingsgrove High. They're lining up inside, but it's gone on for Barrett, and Barrett evades his man, has got the corner. He'll be happy with that. He took a bit of a slide as well. We want to see a little bit more of Dave Barrett too, don't we?
Look, Dave Barrett is a key to the success of the Minotaurs, and every opportunity we can create, we get to create space on the right and look for David to get in beyond the defence to deliver across or finish the way he did is going to be very important. Look, in the 3 years I've played in this team and in this league, there's one characteristic that Zagreb has that is tenacious, and they'll never give up. They'll continue to fight. They won't give up. And they will do whatever it takes to keep staying to the game. They'll fight and scrap and push and catch you when you least expect it. And opportunities like the one we just saw there, which unfortunately Steve slipped at a crucial time, Steve Spanoudakis, and put it over the bar. Could come back to be costly. I'd like to think not. But yeah, as I said, Hurstville Zagreb, known for being fighters, known for never giving up. They will continue to stay in the game and work and work and work. And I would not. There's no room for complacency at all for the Minotaurs at this stage.
They're making another change. Chris Martinsic is coming on, a defender. So 2-1 is the story. We're into the last 10 minutes of the first half now. Souris with time to spare. To Xenos. Barrett gets it from Platagnotti to Barrett to Platagnotti rather. Flag just caught out is Petrados. It would have been a tight one. Look at that, Barrett read it ever so well. Look at the options inside. Here it is, saved. The keeper was going to his left and just blocking it with his feet. And it looked like it was going to go in for all intents and purposes there. They had the numbers favouring them. The ball just was defence splitting. Now, little touch is required. Down goes Dunas, but Kogarah lifts it. Now, Barrett, time to pick. The free kick has gone against the Minotaurs.
Crucial moments in games that sometimes come back to bite you. Look, I think Steve would be himself quite disappointed that he didn't just slot that in from the 6-yard box, inside the 6-yard box, comfortable instep. he'll be disappointed with himself. That could have been a critical goal at 3-1, setting the platform going into half-time. But you know what? The good thing is that we are creating opportunities. The loss of Spiro Hanses so early has deprived the Minotaurs of a bit of width on the left and the ability to deliver the ball in from the left. Angelo Petratos has a tendency to play central because that's where he's played all his life, and so he's going inside looking for the ball. So it would be great to get a little bit of width on the left and give us options both sides. Dave's providing great width and penetration on the right. Maybe we're looking for something on the left as well. But the encouraging thing is we're creating a number of opportunities, and hopefully at some point in time we take advantage of them and move further ahead.
Well, if we look at opportunities so far, I think that's probably 5 now for Minotaurs. So 2 goals to their name. Barrett and Karavitakis scoring. And then the header in the 27th minute from Prusina. Hastily taken by Plataniotis to his little mate Paschalidis. Now Petratos. Does he go left or does he go inside? Typically Paschalidis is there looking to receive. Hearing the call from the bench from the general, there'll be another change. Souris is in trouble. Look at this. The call is to kick it out. Souris is another injury. Look at this. George Souris. This is not good. I don't recall ever seeing him come off the field injured.
Not since I've been playing with him last year and this year. We'll check to see. We'll keep an eye on him. He did cop a clumsy tackle again. As I mentioned earlier, Steve Karavitakis was lucky to get away with not being hurt with a clumsy tackle from behind. Unfortunately, it looks like George may have been hurt with that tackle. And it looks like Spanoudakis will come on, slot to left back, and Spanoudakis will go into the, let's call it sweeper's role, which was previously occupied by George Souris.
George is going straight down the tunnel, much like Spiro Hanses did. So if it was one of those knocks that you think you can walk out or with a couple of minutes to heal, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we'll see him again.
We'll need to check at half-time, but yeah, it doesn't look good. Look, George is the toughest of tough. George wouldn't come off unless there's a problem. He would have just battled through if it was a short knock. And with 5 minutes to go, it's a critical period of the first half where the Minotaurs need to make sure that they don't let Zagreb get a sniff on goal and get that equaliser just before half-time. That'll change the perspective of the half-time talk for both coaches. So very interesting period of 5 minutes coming up. And I think what they've done is they've moved Peter Xenos to left back, Spanoudakis has moved to right back, and Spanoudakis will slide in at that sweeper role, which was the George Souris role.
I'll just give you a little case scenario from earlier today in the over 35A grand final where Oatley RSL played Arncliffe Aurora in the semi-final meeting between the two. Oatley, I think, beat them 6 or 7-1. But today, Oatley were looking the part, 2-0 at half-time. Then Arncliffe came back to 2-1 and still Oatley looked the part. Then it was 2-2. And then Arncliffe had a player sent off. And then it was 3 Arncliffe. And with 2 minutes of normal time left, it was 3-3. And they ended up winning 4-3 Oatley in extra time. I'm not saying it will replicate, but what I'm saying is 1 week you can absolutely hammer a team, and that's what happened to Arncliffe. Yet in the big one, they were more than competitive, and to play with 10 men and do the job that they did. The sequence here, obviously, the Minotaurs, the more possession they have, the greater opportunities will come. It's all about the execution of those opportunities. And one man who tonight looks like he could have got a hatful is Karavitakis, while at the far stick, of all players, Paschalidis is heading wide. So will these missed opportunities come back to bite them, do you think, Manny? Because you know more than anyone, more than all of us, that your team creates countless opportunities.
Look, in your earlier comment, absolutely, that's what is the beauty of grand finals. So whilst, it's indisputable that during the regular season the Minotaurs were the best team, the beauty of the playoffs and the grand final of things is on any given day anything is possible. And so, and as I said, Zagreb is not known for giving up. They will continue to grind and fight and scrap for every ball. And so, yes, that we may come to rue. The Minotaurs may come to rue those missed opportunities. However, there's still enough experience on the park and even on the bench to hopefully help them navigate through this disruption. A disruption that's key to critical players. As I said, Spiro Hansis and George Souris are key figures within the 11 that provide a strong role both defensively for Souris and offensively for Spiro. But I'd like to think there's enough experience and composure to work our way and navigate through this difficult period and come away with another grand final victory.
Well, last year we haven't touched on it. It was 4-0 at Bicentennial. Minotaurs defeating Zagreb in the over 45 grand final of 2016 as Mari Laboya takes off. It's a good ball inside. They just couldn't get on the end of it. It looked like Mihailovic had come through the middle. Now Chatsis misses it, and it's just tucked away for the corner. Now this is a great sequence of play for the side that are the underdogs today, Hurstville Zagreb, and I think it might have been Xenos was the man at the back stick.
Yeah, very, very lucky to get away with that. I think Peter Xenos just realised the ball came to him at the last second, wasn't anticipating that ball getting across the face of the goal, and fortunately he hit him on the shin and went out for a corner. Very, very important that the Minotaurs defuse this corner going into the halftime break.
I feel sorry for him. You know what? That could be on social media, Mario Laboya. I'm sorry, you're a legend of the club. We know that you were one of the originals in the all-age team of 91, but you slipped at the worst possible time, and as a consequence, the pressure is just alleviated as he actually just gets up on the deck now. But it's just going to be a little bit of a crucial time here now just for the Minotaurs just to regroup a little bit, because that sequence there, they could have been on the end of receiving a second goal. I mean, that ball inside was inch perfect. It was just the run was slightly late, and then the switch from the left side again in that whole sequence caused more anxious moments for Johnny Chatsis and his defence. But now, riding the challenge, I think Steve Karatakis rushed that ball. He could have taken it further. He could have taken it further and tried to bring out the defenders to open it up inside a little bit more. But now that the count is on, we're in the last minute of normal time in this first half. It's been an enthralling battle between the side that has dominated this competition from the start against the side that has fought their way into the grand final for the second year in a row as a crucial touch. It's not a back pass. There's no way that's a back pass. That is Peter Papaithas getting that important touch. Johnny Chatsis had it always covered. He had to dive. We knew that. But if Papaithas doesn't get a touch there, Manny, who knows? Really. I mean, there's some warning signs in the last couple of minutes here for the defence, which is probably a good thing at halftime to go in there and talk it through. Regroup and then look at lifting another notch. Because at the moment, to me, the last few minutes, the Minotaurs seemingly are going through the motions.
Yeah, critical touch there by Papaithas. There was a player drifting in behind him on the back post. For sure, the ball would have got to him, but Papaithas not got the touch, and he would have had an open opportunity at goal. So, fantastic touch. Could it be something that turns the mindset of the players, with Dave Barrett playing a nice, neat little 1-2 on the edge of the box with Angelo Petratos? Absolutely great defending by Peter Papaithas there. Getting a bit scrambling, a bit of a scramble there, but it's half time, and we'll wrap it up at 2-1 and go in and have a bit of a well-deserved break, I think.
I was going to ask you, Manny, your report card on the first half. How have you seen it, firstly from the Minotaurs' perspective, and secondly from the Zagreb perspective?
I think overall it's ended up being balanced in relation to the overall game. However, in saying that, the sheer massive opportunities, probably 7-2, maybe 7-3 to the Minotaurs. 5 of those 7 were top-notch opportunities, should have been taken advantage of. In the overall balance of the game, I still think that the Minotaurs are are in control of the game. However, as I said, the tenacity and the ability for Zagreb to continue to grind and scrap and win every ball and then catch you on the break, it's something that the General's going to have to talk to the players about. Check to see the impact of Hansis and Souris being off. It's quite destabilising. However, I think there's enough experience there in that squad to manage it. I think Zagreb will come out firing in the second half and put the Minotaurs under a significant amount of pressure.
Well, welcome back to the second half of the Over 45A's Grand Final of the St George Football Association. It's Hurstville Zagreb who pulled it back to 2-1 in the 27th minute of play, in possession now, kicking off and showing us in the last 15 minutes or so of that first half that they have got some serious fight in them and will really test this Minotaur side. And on the out, it's Petrados deflection corner. And let's just check with Manny Spanoudakis on what was happening in the dressing rooms at half-time.
Report on George Souris, unfortunately, isn't good. It doesn't look like George would be coming back for the second half. Spiro Hansis is looking to try and get some movement into that right knee and see if he can make it back onto the pitch in the second half. He's limbering up on the sideline there with his knee strapped. But I think that that's the end of the night for George, unfortunately, as we prepare for Tom Paschalidis to take a corner in from the right. It's a nice ball from Paschalidis, dealt with nicely by Zagreb, only to David Barrett, who's setting up for a shot edge of the box and straight to the keeper.
And talking of keeper, have they made a change in goals? I need to check that. I think I might need to check that. I have a feeling that there has been a change in the goalkeeping ranks, but we will keep you up to speed on all that and more as the second half unfolds. And the referee, Kostas Tsemis, isn't happy.
Well, it's going to be important the first 15 minutes of this second half. Hopefully Zagreb will start putting a little bit of pressure on the Minotaurs, looking to take advantage of the momentum they built leading into the halftime break. In saying that, the Minotaurs are the Minotaurs, and there's a reason why they're top of the league with over 100 goals. And so it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out. The second half has most definitely started with the ascendancy to the Minotaurs, who create an opportunity for Minotaurs, and once again, straight at the keeper. Again, he'd be disappointed with that.
Thanks, mate. Well, there's an explanation. That is Zelko Tolic, who is a man who normally loves a joke and scoring goals, who's now taken on the responsibility of going in goals. And we probably noticed towards the end of that first half, the Zagreb keeper didn't collect a couple of balls that we thought he would have taken cleanly, but he was injured. So basically what's happened is Andrew Orfanos, who started in goals for Hurstville Zagreb, has had to go off. He'll take no further part in the game, and as a consequence, Zelko Tolic has gone into goals for Zagreb. And he was already called into action, as we saw. So it's been a productive start to the second half from the minor premiers, Hurstville City Minotaurs, as Chatsas calls for the ball. The ball's too short. Chatsas is out of his area. It's 2-on-1. This could be the equaliser, and it is. A horrible mistake at the back. Zagreb are back in the game. They've come back from 2-0 down. And big Mario Loboya had taken off. He sensed that that ball was short. And can you believe it? A couple of minutes into this second half, and it's level at 2-2.
As you said before the break, Andy, anything can happen in a grand final, and particularly the characteristic of this Zagreb team, they're never going to give up. And there's an example. Something that looked like an easy defensive situation that could be diffused, a short error, taken advantage of, and comfortably and very nicely composed, put away for an equaliser. Makes for a fantastic second half now, and we'll see how the Minotaurs respond to this. There's no doubt we have a wealth of possession and plenty of opportunities. Will we be able to capitalise on them?
It's hard to believe, but this is the great thing that is football. We alluded to an earlier example of Varncliffe in over 35As. being comprehensively beaten in a major semi-final, then coming back and pushing the contest to extra time in the big game. And here, after 15 minutes of this game today, with the Minotaurs leading through goals from Barrett and Kogarah, you just felt everything was just going according to plan, that it looked like a fairly typical day at the office, so to speak, for Zagreb, as the Minotaurs now. Paschalidis getting it to Dunas. He elects to go for goal. Gets the corner, but there are options inside.
Just having a look at David Barrett. He made a run in one of the earlier moves a few moments ago and stopped suddenly clutching his left hamstring. So hopefully this is not too serious for David. He has battled throughout the season with a hamstring injury and missed a number of games because of that injury. I'm hoping that's not the case. But he is not as comfortable as he was in the first half as he's walking to prepare for this corner coming in from the right-hand side.
I had a chat to David on Friday, Deputy Principal of Westfield Sport High School, one of the institutions of great note in the sporting sphere. And there is a free header for Paschalidis. And the keeper was coming a little bit too late. And again, that goes down as an opportunity. Another chance there for the minor premiers. And, well, the referee's coming over to have a word to his assistant, Ross McNamara. I don't think I didn't see anything untoward happen off the ball in any sequence, unless he's going to have a word to say. Prusina, who scored the first goal. Well, something said to the assistant referee. So the second yellow card of the game. The 7th minute of the second half. Pythas. He's back on his feet. That's the important part. That ball, just not enough on it for Barrett. We will keep an eye on Barrett, as Manny Spanoudakis alluded to his former teammate. It's just not as mobile as he was at the start of the game. But he did come into this with a little bit of a concern. Paschalidis. Covering was Johnny Mihailovic.
Spanoudakis with the long throwing from the right. Cleared by the Zagreb defender. Contested with Paschalidis, got the better of it, Zagreb. And breaking again, as they've done a few times. Unfortunately, the pass was not as accurate and the ball went straight to Peter Zenos, who's looking now to advance. David Barrett, as we so often see, gets around his defender, delivers a quality ball in from the right-hand side that went right across the face of goal, both eluding Steve Kogarah and Louis Dunas. Another very, very important opportunity that's gone begging for the Minotaurs.
But a very important sequence there is the fact that it was David Barrett who was heavily involved in everything. And he's beautifully whipped in ball, that bending ball away from the defenders, away from the keeper. That's when, you question as a defensive player, you question, do I come for it, not knowing whether you can be certain of getting to it. And I suppose the other thing too, Manny, is having a goalkeeping change. So not having your regular keeper in there. What they need to do is to test this keeper now. They need to see what is he made of. Is he up to the pressures? As you can see, the keeper didn't come for that, and it's gone wide for a goal kick. So normally that's money for jam for a goalkeeper. In that 6-yard box, you've got to be dominant. You've got to be the one that controls everything in that 6-yard box. Yet he didn't come for that one. So it could be a tough outcome for the keeper, but who knows? You've never seen him playing goals, and we're looking at a game where the Minotaurs have never conceded more than one goal. That was only once, last game of the season. So in your last 3 appearances, Manny, you've conceded 3 goals.
Look, I think in the 3 appearances, in the 3 games against Zagreb during the regular season, we didn't concede a goal, and also in the major semi-final. So it's interesting that we've conceded 2. The substitution now, Leo coming on for Louis Dunas, who's come off. Look, as you said, we'll see what happens. Goalkeepers, he's a field player playing in goals on a wet, slippery night. Anything is possible, and we've seen the previous 2 corners as Zagreb counter-attacks, and unfortunately the accuracy of the pass for them went straight to Spanoudakis, but that could have been dangerous. There was a player free in the box.
That was too tough for Tommy Paschalidis, and now you look at this this game at the moment, the way it is, Paschalidis is going to be expected to deliver even more than what he has on that first half performance as well. Petratos also has to step up here. The strikers, Dunas and Kogarah. Kogarah has had the better opportunities, but Barrett now is playing up front. Dunas has come off, so you know that might be a good thing in a sense, because if Barrett's got that hamstring problem, you don't want him running down the right flank. You want him to work more as a target man, that he can feed Kogarah and look for the opportunity. But this is a very interesting part of the game now. I mean, there's still work to be done here for your team, the Minotaurs. And I pay credit to Zagreb for the way they've come back.
Absolutely, 100%. They could have dropped their head and packed it in and said, here we go again. However, they didn't. As I mentioned, they are resilient and they are known for fighting to the death, and they've got some very good footballers there. So the game is still very much in the balance. I think it's good to see that in that previous interchange, Dave Barrett got behind the fullback and whipped the ball in, and looked like he's moving a bit freer than I thought originally. Maybe it was just a little twinge, but he's fine. And look, I'm seeing Spiro Hansis on the sideline as well, limbering up. So there's no doubt that Spiro Hansis gives us another outlet and a quality left foot. And you can just picture the quality of Spiro's left foot and David's right, delivering great service into the likes of Steve and Louis Dunas. So interesting passage of the game. Stoppage for another injury now for one of the Zagreb players, just to be attended to. Yeah, I think he fell a little awkwardly, or the ball hit him awkwardly there.
Man, I've got to ask you too, playing in these conditions, big pitch, it was a bit wet underfoot, so they've really got to work hard for the 90 minutes. And let's see what sort of delivery this is. It's a great ball. Up there was Petratos, not known for a header of the ball, is he? Or
absolutely, quite the opposite. Angelo, for his size, is one of the better headers of the ball, and particularly in the New South Wales Premier League, scored numerous goals, rising above defenders, almost similar stature to Tim Cahill, but his technique and his ability to hang and challenge for that header is well known during his career, particularly in the Premier League days.
How do you explain his longevity at the top end? How does one sustain such a long career?
Look, Angelo is a guy who pretty much trains every day, as far as I know. He's just a naturally fit guy who trained every day. And look, I guess some people are genetically blessed. Angelo never took a break from the game, and I think that's important as well. Once you get to a certain age, if you take a break from the game and look to come back, it's far more challenging. Angelo went straight through till 45 years of age. In fact, played for me for the Parramatta Eagles in the New South Wales Premier League 1 comp in 2011. And I'm pretty sure he was around 44 years old at that stage.
Well, all these players pretty much are in their 40s and 50s. And at the moment, this big game is locked at 2-2. Was that a handball, some are saying, against Darko Lerotic? But Zagreb come again. It's just a wrong execution. It's just aimless ball forward when 3 players were inside.
And it may come down to that lapse in concentration or a moment of genius, as it very, very commonly does in a football game. Slippery conditions, visible fatigue. You can see that the players are quite tired at the moment. And as I said, it could come down to a lapse in concentration and an error causing a goal, or a moment of brilliance, as we see a great interchange of passing here with David Barrett getting on the end of a Karavitakis ball. Karavitakis took a deflection and the keeper did well. It may have been going out anyway, but the keeper wasn't to know that, and for a field player, showed great agility to take a touch and push it for a corner.
Absolutely, because he's expecting the ball to go one direction, it's gone the other, and he's had to adjust very quickly. So we give Zeljko Tolic another tick to his name. He's kept a clean sheet in the second half. He's been called upon on at least 2 occasions now, low down earlier on. Now, you talked about fitness and fatigue and everything else. We're in that last half hour of the game now, so 2/3 of the way in. We've got just under 30 minutes of normal time left. And Steve Karavitakis to take the corner. It's way too deep. Barrett has to chase, and he'll keep it in. Papithis is inside. He elects to try and cross the ball in. Claims of handball. The referee well positioned to see that if there was a handball, but no one's really complaining about it, so play continues. They're certainly set up defensively in that box for the throw. Plataniotis. That's a great ball. A perfect ball. The shot on goal is not strong enough from Xenakis, Sam Xenakis. That's better play though.
Yeah, better play. And I think an opportunity for the Minotaurs to maybe look to mix it up a bit, bring in a shorter corner and try a bit of variation. The direct corner has not been as successful as they had hoped. The Zagreb players are well over 6 foot, many of them, so they set up quite well for the direct corner. Probably an opportunity for some of the clever players like Paschalidis and Karavitakis to maybe work a variation to a set piece or a corner and see if they can move those big defenders, shift them to one way and see if they can create an opportunity for a goal through something different. But I'm not sure if the direct corner, the direct set piece will necessarily be successful on a night like tonight when they're really well dug in, the Zagreb defenders. And we see a foul there from Tom Paschalidis. Regular 50-50 challenge, that's fair enough. The refs called it a foul. We take the foul and we play on. Yeah, you get some, you don't, and fair enough. I think the rule in over 45s is you're not allowed to slide tackle. Maybe the referee perceived that Tommy slid just before he contacted the ball, but there's no malice in there. We'll take the foul and we move on. Looks like another change here. Let's just see who he's going to take off.
Yeah, Pandazis is ready to come on. I'm not sure who's going to be replaced. We haven't seen the signal yet. Paschalidis. Karavitakis dropping in. He'll go straight towards the defence, as he should too, because he's got that speed. Has he got the execution? No. Outside of that goal, it just hasn't really fallen for Steve Karavitakis, has it?
Yeah, even to his height, he sets himself a very high standard, and he'd be the first to say that at least 2 or 3 of those chances he would have, on any other day, done a fantastic job. John Pandas is a good left footer, very cultured left foot, experienced player. Whether he comes on the left edge of defence or the left edge of midfield, again, provides a natural left footer, which has been lacking since Spiro Hands' injury. John can deliver a really good ball into the box, as I said. So let's see, hopefully a bit more balance with a natural left foot, and looks like Angelo Petratos will be making way for John Pandas to come on, possibly on the left edge of a 4-man midfield.
Also a change made by Zagreb. I just noticed number 4, Damjan Ivazic, is on as well. So Pandazis gets his first taste of action tonight, replacing Angelo Petratos. Ivazic. Short for Bubalo. And now Stan Medanek. One to chase for Loboya. It was his chase that resulted in that equalising goal 3 minutes into that second half. It's a deadlock at the moment. 2-2 is the story. Zagreb, that's a great attempt. Damjan Ivasic has come up from the over 35s tonight, answered the call. Another warning sign for the Minotaurs.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just on that left fringe, between the left back and left stopper, someone slips, ball falls opportunistically for the Zagreb player, and a nice strike just over the top of the crossbar. Very, very important 15-minute window of the game we're moving into now, where it's highly likely one of the teams will be scoring. And with a delicate ball there, beautiful ball from Paschalidis into Barrett. Barrett, trying to slot it across for Kogarah, but great defending, desperation there to salvage a corner by Zagreb.
It was great defending, Darko Lerotic. But that was that moment I thought that Barrett might actually go for goal himself. It was unselfish to look inside. Did the right thing by the team. Quality work at the back from Zagreb. Kogarah goes deep. The keeper has missed it again. There's a goalkeeper. Or was there a free kick? The keeper looked like he might have been impeded, but I think the signal is for a goal kick.
So similar situation in the first half. David Barrett went direct to goal and slotted it in the bottom corner. He does look a little bit restricted in his movement. I'm hoping it's not too bad because he's still such a critical player for the Minotaurs. Did the right thing, saw Kogarah in on the far post, but unfortunately for the Minotaurs and fortunately for Zagreb, some very good defending salvaged the corner.
And typically it's Paschalidis, the architect in the midfield, looking for Kogarah. It was cut out by Darko Lerotic. Paschalidis with the control. Offside is the call against Paschalidis. Paschalidis receives from Paschalidis. Good jink there from Paschalidis, the number 14. Plenty of support at the back there for the Minotaurs, and no panic signs from Paschalidis. Typically finds Paschalidis. And here is little Tommy Paschalidis trying to thread it through. And two Zagreb players sliding. Now Paschalidis goes for the left. It's a good idea actually, switching it to the left, just open up this defence. Now the space is opened up, the keeper gets it at the second attempt. And you talk about the danger of David Barrett, the man who opened the scoring in just the 6th minute of play, testing the reserve keeper, Zelko Tolic. That's a sweet pass. Look at that. Kogarah. Will he take him on himself? It looks like he might be tempted. Now the numbers are inside. Barrett. Is anyone square for him to play it to? He's trying to angle it better and just wide. Was that the right way to go? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. But you called it, Manny, earlier, this period of the game now. It's a very important one, particularly for Zagreb. Obviously, none of the players really want to play extra time. You don't want to be pushing yourself for another period outside of the normal 90. Papithus with the slide, and Damjan Ivicic would have been better off letting that just go out for his throw. So it's back with the Minotaurs. Long throw by Paschalidis. Paschalidis inside. Spanoudakis. They've two options on the left, and that's cleverly done. That might be a corner, actually. I think it is. Yeah. Well, the referee has overruled his assistant. I thought it might have been a corner, but nonetheless, it's a goal kick now. But again, there was a time that the Minotaurs should have taken advantage. Two players overlapping down the left side. How long have you got left in the game?
21 minutes to go. Yeah, absolutely. And just, fatigue at any level causes error, inaccuracy and weight of pass. So in that case, that ball was just a little too soft. If the ball had been with a bit of firmer, it would have got to the left edge there. And I think that was Kogarah on the left edge there with Peter Zenos. And maybe they could have done something with a nice little interchange here of passing. But the Minotaurs seem to have stepped it up a gear now, and they're pressing high and creating a number of opportunities, which the Zagreb defence is coping with quite well at this stage.
Well, let's get the Zagreb perspective.
Thanks very much, boys. Well, that changed before half-time, didn't it? And then the early goal in the second half has certainly changed things. Big Mario Loboya steaming onto the ball there. But
what are your thoughts, Jack? Your boys were down 2-0 after, 15 minutes, and they've come back to 2-2.
Memories of 2016, Andy, at a windswept Illingdon Stadium where we were down 2-0 after the same amount of time, and Minotaurs went on to win by 4-0. But tonight, different story. A few injuries for Minotaurs have hampered their progress, and definitely that goal after half-time has really lifted our spirits, so they're going very well.
Again, rock solid defence from Zagreb. Holding firm, Spanoudakis. Paschalidis has pushed forward a little bit, but it's gone down the left channel again. And the keeper has been a standout, Mr. Tolic.
From striker to keeper. Unfortunately, Andrew injured his quad muscle and couldn't carry on anymore, so good old Jelko put his hand up and said, I'm going to be keeping tonight, so for the second half, so job well done for him.
Absolutely. He's made some very good saves.
At 2-0, I thought Minotaurs really had the opportunity to make it 3 or 4 even, to really put the nail in the coffin, but not taking those opportunities, and now looks like it could come back to haunt them.
No offside flag. Here is Barrett running through and jinking it. He's jinked it over the keeper, but the ball had to come back inside for Kogarah. All that great work comes to nothing in the end for the Minotaurs and for David Barrett, but it's the danger of David Barrett again, despite this hamstring problem.
Yeah, look, as Joko said, just like in a long passage of the first half, the Minotaurs have the ascendancy. They've created a number of good opportunities, and they may come to rue missing those opportunities because, as we've seen to date, Zagreb on the counter-attack has been quite ruthless and clinical. So hopefully one of these will go in. Otherwise, it could be an opening for Zagreb as we transition into the last quarter hour of the game. And also fatigue could start to play into it, Andy. Minotaurs only made the one sub, which was a forced sub because of Hansis in the second minute. Zagreb coach seemed to recycle his bench, so maybe there's some fresher legs rotating. There's a few tired boys out there, so we'll see how it all pans out.
Survival of the fittest.
I've got to leave you for now. I've got to go to managerial duties.
I've just noticed you're getting the call. Back down pitch side. Thanks, Big Jack. Jack's joined us from Hurstville Zagreb, giving us. Thank you. You're giving us an insight on the players. We've got a little fact file here, and it's always good to get some information about who's who. I know a few of the boys. You know a few of the boys.
Yep.
But it's been a pretty good game. I've quite enjoyed the game. You know, some of the movements have been fantastic. The opportunities created, well, there's been plenty of those. I started my stopwatch a little bit late. Yours is on time. 16 to go.
Always some good banter with Jack. Long time ago, Jack and I used to go to school together. He's still the only North Sydney Bears fan that I know. So we used to catch a train and go to North Sydney Oval in the old days just to humour him and watch his beloved Bears. But great servant of the game and for his club, and just a lovely man.
The iconic North Sydney Oval, much like this Kogarah Jubilee. He's been a standout today, hasn't he? He's just a machine. Endless bounds of energy here from Tommy Paschalidis. Look at this solo run. Tommy's done it again. Oh, Tommy had a free man on his left in Kogarah. He just went one touch too much. But you know what? You make a mazy run like that, you're in the box, your confidence levels are going to escalate to the point where there's only one outcome in your mind, and that's a shot at goal, and just one touch too many.
Yeah, look, Steve was ominous on the left fringe there. If Tommy had the opportunity to look up and even get a toe poke that ball out to Steve, he was in a one-on-one with the keeper on that left fringe. But as you said, when things are happening that quickly and you've made a 70-metre run, these split-second decisions are what it comes down to. And Tommy's within his rights to think he had a chance there, but you can see Steve lurking, waiting for the opportunity to pounce on a ball and make it 3-2.
A little bit more urgency you can see now to the Minotaurs game. And Zagreb are playing it smartly as well. Just trying to absorb and then counterpunch as quickly as they can. That's onside. Kogarah, what a decoy by Barrett. Kogarah, an eye for goal, and the keeper gets down at his near post.
Penalty.
A penalty.
Ref says he hit him late.
Does the referee deem that to be a penalty? I must admit I was following the ball after the attempt from Kogarah, and I'm just looking to see which player has been pulled up for the challenge. And is it the number 12?
Number 40 on the edge here.
Is it George Tanevsky that was booked? The Kogarah is down, but the referee has deemed it to be a penalty.
Controversial.
It is a controversial moment. It was the number 40, right? George Tanevsky, who's a very solid centre back. Did you see a foul in that? I was watching the sequence with the shot. I mean, I wasn't looking at Kogarah because he had taken the motion of the shot in my mind. I mean, if I thought that there was a foul, I would have alluded to it, but
yeah, I was following the play as well, Andy. I really couldn't comment on that. I didn't see. I guess the referee thinks that there was a bit of a follow through on that post shot and that he took Steve out. But I was tracking with the play as well.
Now the clock, Manny. It's getting close, isn't it? I mean, less than 15 to go.
About 14, just on 13 minutes to go, Andy.
13 minutes to go. Who's taking the penalty? Let's have a look. Nick Spanoudakis. The big man is stepping up. Nick Spanoudakis. It's a 2-2. The most crucial time in the game. Spanoudakis can put them back ahead. He has. Sweetly taken penalty to the keeper's right. The keeper went the left side. And some will call it a moment of controversy in the game, but to me there wasn't too many complaints to the referee if you look at it that way. But only the opportunity of looking back at that sequence will give us a clearer picture. But Spanoudakis scores, and there's just 12 minutes to go.
Kogarah will come off. Looks like Steve copped that knock, and Louis Dunas will come back on for Steve Kogarah, just while we're waiting for the change to take place before the kick-off. Look, there were some complaints from the Zagreb players, I guess justifiably in their eyes. It wasn't clear to me. I didn't see the incident to make comment one way or the other, but obviously Steve may have copped a late knock on the ankle from the look of things. The referee was in a good position, to be honest with you. He was only about 10 yards from the play. So he decided to make that call, a big call, with a quarter hour to go in a grand final, a big call from the referee. And now we'll just have to see how Zagreb responds for the last passage of play here, 10 or 12 minutes.
Now it's Zagreb's turn. Will they test John Chatz's claims of handball? And very solid claims. And this is the thing, ball to hand or hand to ball. And that's the thing, if the ball's played to the hand, yeah, it's such a grey area. That whole ruling is such a grey area.
Comes down to the referee's judgment, I guess, how he sees it. And to be quite frank, I'm at quite a distance from that to be able to make a call on it. But he's closer than me, so we're going to have to give him the benefit of the doubt.
If you've got your arms out and you're using it to your advantage, absolutely. But when it hits your hand, the ball hits your hand, there's not much you can do in that split second. I think your stopwatch will indicate probably 10 minutes to go now. Yep, the last 10 minutes of the grand final of 2017. Oh. In goes Barrett, and he's won the challenge. Oh.
Didn't look far to me. It looked like a great challenge to me. It didn't seem like David did anything wrong there. But again, the referee's called it. That's the way he saw it, and I guess we've got to get on with it and close out this last 10 minutes. Look, overall, 80 minutes into the game, it's fair to say that the Minotaurs have created the majority of the play and quite deservedly gone ahead. And as Jack said earlier, it probably could have been 3 and 4-0 prior to conceding that goal against Zagreb. So let's see how these last 9 or so minutes pan out. I think Zagreb is going to throw everything into the last 9 minutes, and we'll see what pans out. Paschalidis limbering up on the sideline to come on, so there'll be another change for the Minotaurs at the next break.
Well, the change I'm hearing, if you listen to the benches, they're talking about Barrett coming off, and Barrett's on the far side of the pitch. It's a credit that he's has lasted as long as he has, given the issues that he's had all season. But he's scored a goal. He could have scored a second. He's set up a couple of opportunities. And is he exiting the field on the far side? It looks like he is. So I think Barrett's contribution tonight has ended, unless, dare I say, it goes to extra time. Here's Leo now. That's a deflection. It'll be a throw-in for the Minotaurs. And quickly taken for Dunas. Well, body check from Damjan Nivesic. And Titus will whip this in. He'll look for the tall timber at the back stick. Paschalidis is shifting across to that far side, as is Louis Dunas. Leo comes short for Pontitas. And Tommy will look to try and just bend this in behind that defence. There's so many of them back there now for Zagreb. There it is. The keeper spills, but gets it at the second. Oh, down goes Bubalo. Oh, that's a lovely deft little touch. And that ball has been easily cut out by Leo. Paschalidis is onside. He's onside. Some might have thought he wasn't, but there was a centre-back who kept everyone on. He's gone too far with it, though. There was never a chance for Ivasic to get that one. Just wondering when Laboya will come on, the number 15 for Zagreb, who pulled it back to 2-2. He's on the bench at the moment. So Leo has been replaced. Paschalidis was double tagged then. Pusina getting it back. This is pleasant to watch here from Zagreb. Good control of the ball, good movement, and they've got to react now. Business end of the game. They're down by a goal. They fought very well to come back from 2-0 down. Darko Lerotic. Headed on by Papithis. Papithis again, the captain. Looked like Xenos, I think, might have been trying to keep that ball in on the far flank. Closing stages of the game. Last 5 minutes, Manny. Last 5 minutes of the game. That's 3-2, the Minotaurs. Have conceded just 1 goal prior to today's grand final and scored over 100. Now Hansis looks like he's going to come on. It's an interesting change, actually, given the injury that he suffered in the first couple of minutes of the game. Paschalidis with a steal. Oh, the advantage, look at this. The advantage that was there for Louis Dunas and Petrados. The referees pulled up play back where Paschalidis was fouled. So Hansis will come on, as will the man that made it 2-2, Laboya. Who does Hansis replace?
Possibly Pete Xenos at the left edge of the midfield there. We'll wait and see. He's not called out, but it may even still be Steve Karavitakis because he is visibly in pain there and limping. So I was quite surprised that he came back on after the penalty. So it'll be a swap there. Steve Karavitakis off and Spiro Hansis on. I guess Spiro lasted all of 2 minutes. He's got some sort of strapping on the knee. Let's see if he can get through the last 3 or 4 minutes of this game and lead the boys there to victory and to hold out.
There's no doubt about it. The minor premiers have been pushed all the way, and Zagreb still believe they can rescue this game. They trail 3-2. Paschalidis onside, Petrados is. Great covering work from George Tanevsky. That's back for the keeper, Tolic. Brusak. No one's up there. Plataniotis. Papithis. There's Spiro Hansis, the calming influence. Well, the danger now is of this ball getting all the way across. And a calming influence at the back, and they go the long ball for Dunas. Petrados is coming up in support. The keeper will come, and he comes confidently. Well, both teams absolutely committed. Zagreb, what have they got left in them? That'll be a throw in for Hurstville Zagreb. The last minute of the normal time. Have they not been pushed tonight, eh? Your team have been pushed.
Look, I think we brought it a bit upon ourselves with missing a few of those early chances. I think Jack quite rightly said, could have been 3 and 4 and maybe even 5-0 up before conceding that goal with some very, very clear opportunities. However, you know, the experience of the team got them back at a time when other teams may have got a bit nervous and panicked. And at 2-2, we definitely have had the ascendancy of the second half. Again, early in the second half, created numerous opportunities that we probably should have capitalised on. The longer you don't score those goals, the more you put pressure on yourself, unfortunately. And look, thankfully at the end, we've got the penalty from Nick Platagnotis. Zagreb would argue, potentially a contentious decision, but nonetheless, in the overall balance of play, I think the Minotaurs have been the better team this evening, and I'm not sure that can be disputed. But as you can see, Zagreb continues into stoppage time to fight for every ball and every challenge.
It's a long ball by Spiro Hansa, same for Louis Dunas, who collided with George Tanevsky. Zagreb into stoppage time now. Not sure how much will be added on. We don't get any signal about that. And Paschalidis gets clipped. Play continues. Hansis almost getting it through. Zagreb. This could be the last sequence of the game. Mario Laboya. They've got to get it into the mix. The referee looks at his watch. They've got to get it up there. Papithus blocks it. He's onside. Onside. The referee blows full time. It doesn't matter. Hurstville City Minotaurs have prevailed in the big one. They were pushed all the way by a gallant Zagreb. They do it again in 2017, but this time not as clinical as last year. 3-2 was the final outcome. And credit where credit's due, and Zagreb have really stepped up today as well.
Absolutely, a fantastic grand final, and Zagreb, full credit to them. They pushed the Minotaurs all the way to the end. Full credit to the Minotaurs as well. It's not difficult. It is difficult when you lose key players in the game like Souris, like Spiro Hansis, and missing people like George Kalogiris, another quality midfielder. Any other team could have been destabilised and packed it in, but they came back and continued to push in the second half, and I think deservedly came to a 3-2 win tonight to cap off what's been an amazing season. And full credit to everyone involved with the Minotaurs, the general, the players, on capping off a good season. And congratulations to Zagreb, who had another very good year, pushing to the very end, looking for that opportunity. And unfortunately for them today, it just wasn't meant to be their day.
Yes, it was a fantastic day here at Jubilee. 5 goals. 2 of them had come inside of the first 15 minutes. And it's the team that finished on top of the league after the regular season who get the honours today. And their focus now will be on the champions of champions, where they want to be the #1 team in this age category in New South Wales. They certainly have the players to do so, but it's all about consistency of performance in that sudden death scenario, week in, week out, that is champions of champions football. But the other thing too, Manny, it's a tough season for Minotaurs in the sense that knowing that they can win and win convincingly week in, week out and not be pushed to the absolute test like today. They need these sorts of games week in, week out.
Yeah, look, as I said, it is about the social get-together of all the lads on a Friday night and to play a bit of football. It does become a little bit mundane, it is fair to say that, if the opposition, on any certain Friday night is not strong enough and you get these blowout scores. It's not good for anyone. most definitely we'll push this evening to the limit, and these sort of games will help us. We're trying to also back up and win back-to-back Champion of Champions. We were the Champion of Champions in New South Wales last year in the over 45s category. So, look, I think there'll be a few tired boys heading into work tomorrow morning. The conditions made it very difficult for everyone. But as I said, deservedly winners. And ultimately we move on now to get a bit of a recovery and look to see what the draw holds for us in relation to the first round of the Champion of Champions.
Johnny. Maxi. Call it.
Hey, congratulations, guys. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I'd like to thank our coach, mate. He's done a great job, and Boris as well for organising all the shit. And last of all, you guys, mate. Thanks for a great year.
Gets two. Well done, boys. Did anyone miss out?
So,
I just want to congratulate Daniel and Craig for and the board of St. George for the great venue. The atmosphere is great. Congratulate Hurstville Zagreb. You push us to the limit. I nearly got a heart attack again, but doesn't matter. Congratulations, you did a good job, and you should be proud of yourselves, okay? But I told the boys not to score more than 3, so you're okay. On this, at this stage, I'll call the captain over to take over.
Can I just say a few words? Congratulations to Hurstville Zagreb on a fantastic year. The 3 years we've been playing against them, there's never been an easy game. They never forfeit. They always turn up. They always turn up even when they've got 11 and no subs. They give it a go. Congratulations, Hurstville. Just want to say a few more words about my blokes here. You couldn't be a captain of a better team. My best mates, all in the same team. I couldn't ask for a fucking better way to finish my football career. Thank you. Ella, patata, let's go. Patata. Congratulations, brother. Johnny Chats. Well done, man. Peter Zanos. Well done, man. Steve Kogarah. Well done, man. Well done. Nick Platt, Colossus all year, man. Well done, man. Well done.
Happy to football.
Spiro has us with one leg there. You're a champion. Well done. Well done. Ella Gus. Petrato, well done, man. First year, straight away win. Ella Louis doing this, one of my best mates. Sam Spanoudakis, club captain. Ella Lea Levetti. Ella Tom Paschalidis. Best over 45 player in the world. Sam Spanoudakis, my bodyguard. Dave Barrett. Couldn't ask for a fucking better player than Dave Barrett, man. George Suro with one leg. Best defender ever played for Manny. Well done. Is that it? Have I got anyone else?
Fella's up there.
It's 4 or 5 missing.
Peter Sarikakis, the general. The Charles Valentine medal winner. Come on, man. Go and get one. Come on. Yeah. And these are for the other guys.
There's 3 or 4 boys missing, Ali.
If you need any, just email Craig.
Yeah, all right. Thank you.
We need 10, right?
Call Craig, he's over there.
Yeah, he's going to take this.
Doesn't
You want to get him there? I'll give him
Get a photograph. General.
How does it feel like to win, man?
Yeah, let's take one without him, yeah.
Bravo, man.
You retiring?
I'm retiring. That's it, man. I've had enough. I'm done. Any more questions?
What did it mean for you today?
It was great. Look, it's been 3 years now. We've been winning 3 comps in a row. My mates, I think it's time. I'm done, man. I can't run anymore. I can't chase anyone. I'm too slow. I'm too old. You know, it's time just to give it up. You know, they'll be fine without me. They'll be sweet. They're all good.
It's not just about what happens on the pitch, it's what happens off
Yeah,
the pitch.
I've got to spend time with my kids. I've got 2 little babies. I want to spend time with them. That's it.
All the best for it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Credit to Zagreb because they didn't give up. They were down 2, and you know we're thinking of creating 3 or 4 might come, but they didn't. They came back to 2-2. Really tested you today.
Yeah, that did, and it helps when our boys are missing open, easy goals. Because I mean, credit to them, that did what they had to do. But today we should have finished the game in the first 15-20 minutes. I mean, Steve Steve could have had 5 or 6 goals, and normally he would have. Everybody missed a lot of chances. My main concern at the moment is the champion of champions because I got injuries, and tomorrow we'll find out how Suris is, how Hadzi and everybody else. You know, so we had players missing. Palapanis wasn't available, Ganyats wasn't available, but there's no excuses. Like I said, credit to them. They pushed us to the limit, and I suppose in the end we're lucky to get away with it.
For you, what does it mean to be involved with this team because they're a special team?
Yeah, look, it's great for me because a lot of players that did not play for the Minotaurs during their soccer careers are now here. Representing my club, as you know, Hurstville Minotaurs is my club, and I live for the Minotaurs. So to have people like Barrett and Platagnotti and all these boys representing the club, it's a big thing for me and the club for us. It's great, and a lot of young kids came to watch, yeah, it's a proud moment for our club to have these players playing wearing our colours, you know.
And finally, imagine if this was our home of football here in our local area, this ground.
Well, the general manager said if we score 6 today, we'll be our home ground, but we didn't score the 6, so we can't complain. We'll go back to Beverly Hills Park.
¡Ahí vamos! ¡Ahí
today that result 3-2 and we had a chance. We would have taken it, but losing 3-2, we're pretty proud of the effort and the achievement. And you know what? That brings the crowd back. What a game!
But you know what? When you're thinking, you're watching, you're playing, it's 2-0 in favour of Minotaurs, you're thinking, here we go again. But everything changed.
It changed, and that's why the game is beautiful. Because you know what? Minotaurs are pressuring. We've got half a chance, one chance. We put it away, and then we had some belief. We had belief that something could happen out of this game. And we got the second one, and you think, wow, we can win this, you know. And you know, when it's 2-2, heads go down, the other team makes mistakes, and you think you can live, you know. But again, to credit, Minotaurs have done it, you know, week in, week out, year in, year out, and all credit goes to them. And you know what? It's great. It's great to be part of it. Very good.